Hey everybody, welcome back to Sunday Slot Talk with the Tech. We are your hosts, Brantley and Marc. Welcome everybody to the Cowboy Slot channel. We have a very interesting and great topic for you today. It's the topic that a lot of people really get confused. Uh, a lot of people see slot machines and they're like, "Oh, I'm playing a slot machine," or what is this? What is a slot machine exactly? And the thing is most people actually get that answer wrong. So we're going to go over that today and see why not everything you play, even if it looks like a slot machine, actually is a slot machine. So we're going to dive into that, and then of course, right after, we will have our open forum Q&A where you guys can come in and ask your questions. So let me get this pulled up here really quick, and we're going to start with bingo-based terminals. So these are class 2 devices. A lot of times casinos in Oklahoma have these. I know they're really popular over at WinStar, and a lot of people see them as slot machines. But are they really slot machines? We're going to answer that question here today. So this is actually a quote. Let me take this banner down really quick. This is actually a quote directly from the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, Title 25, Section 2703, Subchapter B2. And this is where it gets interesting. So I'll just read this out to you in case anybody out there is listening and not watching. The term Class 2 gaming does not include, right here, this section, electronic or electrical mechanical facsimiles of any game or any game of chance, or slot machines of any kind. So the term Class 2 gaming does not include slot machines of any kind. So when you are playing a bingo-based terminal at, say, WinStar or a casino in Oklahoma, you're actually not playing a slot machine. And we're going to get into what actually counts as a legal slot machine, but we're going to cover two more categories. The next one is lottery based. So these are really popular in Washington State. These are the VLTs. So we're going to cover this, and this is actually from the company that makes a lot of the VLTs. And there's a lot in here that I want to point out to you guys. So the 4 differences between VLTs and slot machines. The first line right here, and this is really important. We'll kind of break this down. Slot machines are gambling machines that create a game of chance for players thanks to an RNG associated with the combination of different symbols. So that's pretty much the definition of a slot machine, and we'll dive into it a little bit deeper. But a slot machine is a self-contained unit that creates its own combination from its own random number generator. That's what defines a slot machine. So how do these VLTs work? The video lottery terminals, and this is where it kind of gets interesting. The video lottery terminals are pre-programmed to pay a certain number of times, while slot winnings are unpredictable. So essentially with the video lottery terminals, it is entirely predetermined. It already knows what's coming next. It already knows, it has an order of when it's going to pay. So when it comes to, utilizing strategies on lottery terminals, there really is no strategies that you can use on lottery terminals, because the machine itself already knows the exact sequential order of what's coming next. And this is another thing about the VLTs. Right here, VLTs are connected to several players to compete for winnings or winners. The number of potential winners is also fixed before the game starts. And then just right above that, when you're betting on a slot machine, it's just the player versus the machine. So just the player versus the casino. So when you're playing those lottery terminals, you're actually competing with everybody else playing those lottery terminals, and it's predetermined already before you even sit down. So that's a big thing with lottery terminals. So for those of you out there in Washington State or any other place that has machines that are based off of the lottery system, this is exactly how they work. So legally, they are not slot machines. So they can look like slot machines, they can play like slot machines, but they are not slot machines. So let's talk about the third category, which is historic horse racing, or HHR. Now, this is information directly from the Wyoming Gaming Commission, because we do have HHR machines here, and it's a little long, but I'll go ahead and just pick out a couple of things here from you. from this for you guys. So the historic horse racing machines, HHR, what it is it is a gaming form whereby a player can place a pari-mutuel wager on the results of one or more randomly chosen historic horse races. So these are horse races that have already taken place in the past. The races are randomly chosen from the game library after money is placed into the machine, and the player is presented with the odds of the race, but no other information is given to identify the race. So how those HHR machines work is when you're playing them, it is randomly picking a random race from the past. And it could be anything. It could be a race that occurred a week ago. It could be a race that occurred 20 years ago. It's randomly picking a race from the past. And basically the machine is picking your horse to see what's going to win. That is how those work. Now, the interesting part about this is right here. Some markets allow for a graphical slot machine display where the winnings are shown as the results from a real combination. So it's not a slot machine, but they are allowed to look like a slot machine and act like a slot machine. So when you are playing those HHR machines, you are not playing a slot machine. And this is where it gets interesting. So what is a slot machine? You would think that it would be an easy answer, but it's actually not. So the definition of a slot machine in terms of the legalities, it is a unit that determines a result based on its own random number generation internally. It has its own RNG and it determines its result internally. It is not considered a slot machine if it has to depend on any outside source, such as tickets, races, bingo, server polls, or any outside unit of computer selection. So this would be like online games. Now, with that, there's a lot of misinformation going on out there that slot machines can be scheduled to pay out, or there's a server that can randomly control the unit. That is not possible on a slot machine. Is it possible on a lottery terminal? Yes. Is it possible on a bingo machine? Yes, but it is not possible on a slot machine. So slot machines cannot be scheduled to pay out. They cannot pay out in a certain order. They cannot pay out based on number of spins. They have to be an independently random number generated result that is done inside of the machine. It also has to be legally deemed a game of chance and not skill. So skill-based games are not considered slot machines. And also slot machines are highly regulated in their own class, which is class 3 gambling. So just understand that with slot machines, it has to be internally done on its own merit. It cannot have outside influence whatsoever. And if there's, now you might be saying, well, the casino can just do that. The casino can make it outside influence. No, they can't, because then they lose their entire licensing. They lose what the definition of a slot machine is. And also the manufacturer has to follow these regulations as well. So when the slot machines are built, they're built to not have any outside influence coming in whatsoever to affect its random number generation. The casino cannot alter that. So when you hear things from people that, oh, well, they can set the machines on a schedule, or they can change how the machine pays out based on number of spins or anything like that, that is entirely false. That is not what a slot machine is. That is not how a slot machine functions. And also the gaming regulations itself right there, it has its own class of class 3. And then finally, one other thing that is really, really crucial to really get across to people is that online slots are not slot machines, period. They are not slot machines. They don't work the same. They don't act the same. They are not slot machines, period. So that's kind of a little breakdown of what exactly is a slot machine. And I hope that, for those of you out there that are playing the games like the bingo based games or the lottery based games or anything like that, that you kind of have a little better understanding now of exactly what a slot machine is. Mark, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that was really well said. There is actually a comment in here that I think you could answer, Brantley. First Sergeant says, if they all look and act the same, how can a user identify the different machines?
So really good question with that. So the thing is not all slot machines are going to act the same. So you have several different factors with slot machines. Obviously, every single slot machine has a random number generator. However, within those slot machines, they can have a different volatility index, which is exactly what we teach here on this channel. So you could have, we'll just say example, 2 quarter machines. So you have 2 slot machines that are both a quarter, and they both look the same. They both have the same denomination. They both bet the same amount. But this one could be a 12 times pay machine, and this one could be a triple diamond. The volatility index on those machines are vastly different. And again, we've covered volatility, quite a bit here on this channel. And basically what it is in the simplest terms is a higher volatile machine. So in this case, that 12 times pay machine is going to have longer swings where it's going to go through long periods of dead spins, and it's going to give you just one occasional big win. And that could be not in your session at all. You could sit there and pump thousands and thousands through it and just go through all these dead spins. Whereas the lower volatile game, it's going to eventually reach that same result, but it's going to give you more consistent wins rather than long periods of dead spins and then a big spike with a big win. So the volatility index is the biggest thing that you want to consider. And this is also things that you can tell about a machine just by looking at it. If you look at pay tables, if you compare machines within the similar denomination, within the same similar bet amount, and you see like, oh, this one says it can pay up to $100,000, and this one's playing the exact same amount, and it says it pays up to $5,000. Obviously, that one that pays up to $5,000 is going to be a lot more low volatile because it's going to have a chance of hitting that $5,000 repeatedly. Whereas the other one, the $100,000, it might only hit that once in its lifetime, if ever. So that is the biggest thing, and that's the key difference to identifying these machines, which is what we teach you guys here on this channel. So I hope that helps to answer your question. And Mark, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, in case he was asking,
add any more.
I interpreted it a different way. How do you know the difference between a slot machine, an HHR machine, a Class 2 machine, all that? Like if you're walking to the casino for the first time, how do you know what you're sitting down to play? You still there? No, I guess I lost him. I'll answer that. So,
sorry, Mark. I had it turned down.
Oh, it's okay. I'll go ahead and answer it real quick. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So, in case that is the case, there's a couple ways that you can personally identify, although it's not 100%. It's not 100% sure, but if there is a bingo game being played anywhere on the machine, if you see a bingo card either in the bet area or up on the top glass or anything like that, it is a Class 2 bingo style machine. HHR machines are very similar. You're going to see somewhere on the machine itself that it's playing that HHR or the historical horse racing. It'll actually show you the results. There's probably a button that you can push to see the results, that kind of thing. Video lottery tournaments, I'm not really sure how they actually display. But honestly, the best thing you can do is ask. And there was another question in here where somebody said, I called. So Adam, let me put it up real quick. So Adam says, I called 10 casinos in upstate New York run by Indian nations. 8 out of 10 casinos didn't know what I was talking about when I asked about slot class. What should I do? Probably ask to talk to the slot manager. Like normal people that answer the phone are probably not going to know that information. But if you ask to talk to a slot director, a slot manager, or something like that, they will definitely be able to tell you what class the machines are, Class 2 or 3. And then if it is a Class 2, we'll ask them, what is it based on? Is it video lottery? Is it HHR? Is it bingo based? What is it? And then ask them that. And any slot manager will know what they have on their floor. So you probably just need to ask for them. But I hope that helps both of you guys for your questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely want to talk to the slot manager on that. And then really quick, before we move in, we're just about to move into our Q&As here. We do have some super chats and super stickers coming in. Dice Shark 1999 super chat. Dice Shark, thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate it. And also a $10 super chat coming in. So guys, thank you very much. We really do appreciate those. It really does go to help out the channel. And we appreciate having you guys here. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. All right. You want to jump into some questions? Let's get going.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll take this one here from
Yeah,
Deborah.
go for
Does
it.
each denomination on a slot machine have its own RNG? So, no, it does not have its own RNG, but each denomination is programmed different. So they're going to have different pay tables associated with it. So when you change the denomination over, that RNG is going to select from a different pay table that is just specific to that denomination. And then, of course, as you climb the denomination, as you go up, those pay tables do get a little bit better in terms of payback percentage. In most cases, obviously, if you're comparing 1 cent to 2 cent, it's not going to be a big
Right.
change. But if you're comparing 1 cent to $5 or $10, it's a huge change. Does it have its own RNG? No, it doesn't. It just has a different pay table that it chooses from. So very good question, Deborah. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, good one. And Autumn says you aren't making lottery games sound very appealing. Yeah, I mean it's a different taste, right? And that's why it's important that you guys know what's going on and what you're sitting down to play. If you ever looked into, say, like the scratch ticket lottery that your state may have, it behaves very much the same way. In fact, most packs of tickets have a guaranteed payback that are printed somewhere on the ticket, so that you know that if you did buy a full pack of tickets, you will be expected to get a certain amount back. That's not necessarily true with a class 3 slot machine. So the lottery can be a little bit more predictable because you know what it's pulling from and what could potentially be next. But there's not really any strategy out there to know what is actually coming next. You may be the winner, your neighbor may be the winner. So it very much is still, it feels like a game of chance. It's just the way that it's displaying it to you is different. And so I personally probably wouldn't play those either, because I kind of like the predictability of class 3 machines, which is there is none. I'm either going to be lucky or not. And I won't get too focused on, my neighbor keeps winning and I'm not, maybe my turn's next and all those types of things that'll get you into trouble with gambling. So, personally, I like knowing it's completely random every time I hit the button. So, but good comment on him.
Very good, Autumn. Thank you so much. To the Stars is here. Welcome back to the Stars. How was your Thanksgiving, Brantley and Marc? Mine was good. It was pretty low key. Didn't do much. Of course, spent time with family, and that was about it. I hope everybody out there had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we are right back at it here on this channel already up and going right after the holiday. Marc, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was very relaxing as well. We got a little busy with work, but that's okay. We had some friends come down from Utah that we haven't seen in a while, and they hung out, and we had a really good time. And it was over too fast. I think it always is. You always eat too much, you sleep too much, and then next thing you know, you're back at work. So that's kind of the way it works.
We do have another super chat coming in, $4.99
Okay.
super chat from Carlos. Carlos, thank you so much. Delighted to be with you to continue learning. We are delighted to have you here, guys. We love to teach you. We love to go over new stuff, new topics every single week. And of course, just as a reminder, we do have our Wednesday night show as well. So, and this Wednesday night, we should be doing it from Vegas. We'll be there just briefly. So it'll be a fun show. So always, guys, come back on Wednesdays and Sundays for those live streams.
Absolutely. And Joanne says, I thought I read online that online slots like Chumba and Lucky Land do have an RNG, yes or no? Now, they could have an RNG, but it might be centrally server based. It cannot be a slot machine unless the RNG is being generated on the device that is actually displaying the result. And that's impossible with an online slot machine, as you can imagine. So they probably do have a random number generator, but it's being served from a server. And so that's not classified as a slot machine, even though they say it is and all that. If you really want to get into the details and the legality of it, like Brantley went through, it's technically not a slot machine because it's not an individual RNG. So that kind of gets into the weeds a little bit. There's probably a lot of gray area. There's a lot of gray area with Chumba and Lucky Land anyway, because it's sweepstakes based. It's really kind of complicated. I would not believe anything that they would ever say about payback percentage or anything like that, because it's in the gray area. That's just my personal feeling.
I'll just kind of add to that. So in terms of Chumba and Lucky Land, they're actually not even considered casinos at all. They are sweepstakes. So how they work is you purchase sweepstakes coins, and then you can redeem those sweepstakes coins for prizes, which gets really, really sticky in a lot of areas. They cannot be considered slot machines at all because of the law. In the United States, you are only legally allowed to play online slots in 6 states, just in 6 states. And Chumba and Lucky Land, obviously, you can play those anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter. And the reason how they circumvent around those laws is because they're not slot machines at all. They are sweepstakes. Basically, it's almost like buying a raffle tickets every time you push the button when you're on those games. Definitely not something we recommend doing, guys. There's a lot of gray area with that. Yeah. It's not something that we recommend. But thank you very much for that comment. We appreciate it. Let's see. And I've got one. I'll take this one here from Raymond. Are quick hits high in volatility? They can be. There are a lot of versions of quick hits out there. There's the classic quick hits, and now you've got quick hits platinum, and then there's so many varieties of quick hits. It really just depends. Just always know that when you're looking for volatility in a slot machine, the more complicated something gets, the more features something has, the more bonuses and options something has, then obviously the higher the volatility is going to be on those games. So keep it simple if you're looking to play lower volatile slots.
And then Ocho Ron has a question. How come on those bonuses where you have to get 3 of the same amounts that almost 99% of the time you get the mini? Yeah. I mean, it's just like any individual slot machine. I mean, or slot machine spin. Like if you're not going to get the top line jackpot every time you spin the reels. It's just not going to happen. If you do get something, what's the most likely scenario? Maybe your bet back, maybe less your bet back. It's always going to be heavily weighted to those lower amounts, and those progressive picking machines during the bonus play out exactly the same way. Your odds of getting anything higher than the base mount and even the one right above that are astronomically higher than those lower amounts. It's the same thing on Wheel of Fortune. When you're spinning the wheel, it seems like it's always going to hit the 1,000. It's going to hit that. Oh, it landed on the 25 right after it. It's not because you were close to the 1,000. It already knew that it was going to be that. And it always seems to be those lower amounts, 25, 30, 40, those types of things. And that's just because it's heavily weighted towards that. You know, you're not going to be able to get a random spin every time you spin Wheel of Fortune. It wouldn't work that way. That's on the game show. That is not on the slot machine. So yeah, it's just heavily weighted to those lower amounts. And it's like that casino wide on every single game. You're not going to get the equal chance to get the grand or the super grand every time you get a progressive picking bonus, for example. So good question.
Exactly. Very good question. Question here from Mary. I've heard that all slots are on a Casino Central server and can be tightened and loosened at their will, but if they are all pre-programmed, how is that possible? Absolutely not. You know, this is the biggest myth out there. And guys, I cannot stress this enough. This is false information. Slot machines are not all on a Casino Central server. It is false. There are 2 separate systems. So your player's card, everybody associates the player's card with all the slot machines are on the server. In order for it to legally be a slot machine, it must act on its own. Even if that player system, which is connected to the player's tracking network, even if that player system completely goes down, the slot machine must still be able to function by itself. Period. Which happens a lot. There's a lot of times that those player systems, like the player tracking, will go down. And then that's also where, like, sometimes, you know, people are playing, and then, like, if the network goes down, and then when people cash out, then everything starts going into hand pay because it can't communicate with the player tracking system. However, that does not affect your machine odds. That does not affect the odds, nor does that affect how the game plays. It can't. Because then it would lose its definition as a slot machine. A slot machine must act on its own merit. So it can't have outside influence. And a lot of people, again, they think that just because the players club system is there, that there's a connection with the logic portion of the machine. And that is very false. There is very strict technology and regulation in place that logic box has to remain independent of anything else outside of it. And that is something that the manufacturer builds in. The casino cannot control that. So as for the casino tightening and loosening at their will, and again, we've talked about this. Let's just say that it was true and the casino could tighten and loosen at the will. It wouldn't make a difference. Because the thing is it takes an average of 10 million spins for a payout percentage to balance out over time. You're not going to spin the machine 10 million times just because it's a Friday or just because it's a Thanksgiving or anything like that. So it would be it would be a whole lot of effort for no result. So that's not a practice that the casinos do. And this is the biggest myth out there, period. So always keep in mind that that is a legal definition of a slot machine. You cannot have outside influence on a slot machine. So I hope that helps to clarify that and to answer your question. Thank you so much. We do have a couple more super chats coming in here. Have a $5 super chat from A&M. Thanks for the help on how and what to play. On my way back to Reno for a few hours to try again. Won a little over 2,000 on the floor last Tuesday. That is awesome. Congratulations. We love to hear that. And then we also have a $9.99 super sticker from Sean. Thank you so much for that. We really do greatly appreciate it. All of those super chats and super stickers do go to greatly help out the channel, guys. So much appreciated. Thank you guys so much.
I wanted to expand a little bit more on that comment that you had before about the central server controlling odds and things.
Yeah.
And my dogs are going nuts. If you guys can hear them, I fully apologize. I guess my wife left. So here's the thing. We talk about this a lot. You know, as human beings, we are constantly looking for explanations and patterns on why certain things are happening. And this is why a lot of these myths seem to be true. Or, you know, it makes logical sense that a casino would tighten the slots on the weekend because they're going to have a lot of people there. And then we will loosen them for the locals because they're not going to have the foot traffic that they have on the weekend. It makes logical sense, right? If I was a business, I would probably do the same thing. If I was a clothing store and I knew it was going to be a busy weekend, I would not put the sales on. I would do the sales during the week, the 20%, 30% off. That makes sense, right? But that is not how casinos operate. Class 3 casinos do not do that, period. What you are seeing when you see a hot or a cold machine, I'm using that in quotation marks because there really is no such thing. You are just noticing a bad pattern in the sense that you are just not pushing the button at the exact moment that you should have, but you don't know what that is. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I have a video coming out later on my channel where I played this double top dollar yesterday, and I put $100,000 in it, playing at $100, and I went 40,000. That's 400 credits without getting the bonus. That's not because I tightened it or loosened it or anything like that. I was just unlucky, you know, and that machine is way off balance right now, but that doesn't matter. It's not going to change the way that it produces results in the future. The way the game programming is made, or the way that it's set up, is that it will eventually get to that end point, just like the flipping of the coin that we talk about. We know it's 50-50, but you know, sometimes it's going to be heavier on the heads and heavier on the tails. It's luck. It's all luck. So they cannot, and even like Brantley said, like, let's say that they could change the odds. It is quite possible that they could drop the odds by a couple percent, and it would actually pay more over that weekend than if they didn't change the percent. It's possible. In fact, it could happen. You know, it's because it hasn't gone through the full cycle yet. It will take a long time. So we don't want you to get caught up on that. It's a myth. It keeps getting spread around. It's really annoying because it's not true, and it's giving you bad information because it's not, you shouldn't be planning your casino trip around some kind of event or a certain time of day or anything like that, because you're going under false information. And we know what happens with gambling when you go in with false information. You think this is supposed to be working. It's 5 a.m. This is supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be hitting jackpots, and I'm not. You know, what is going on? You know, we don't want you to get into that. It's dangerous information. So just know that a class 3 machine, a slot machine, this is what you find in Las Vegas. This is what you find in Reno. This is what you find in New Jersey. Most casinos are class 3. You know, those type slot machines, every event, every time you hit that spin button or pull a handle, it is completely random. The result is completely random. I'm off my soapbox now. Just wanted to add to that. Thanks, Brantley.
Thank you, Mary, for your question. We really do appreciate those
thank you, Mary.
Guys. All right, Mark, I'll let you take over one.
Oh, Lord. And Kevin Deal says, slot machines are just a computer. The reels are just eye candy. The sounds are just ear candy, but would be very boring without those features. Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible they could build a slot machine where you push the button and it just says loser, or you push a button and it says winner, $2. They could do that. It would instantly show you the result, and maybe eventually we'll get to that point. I don't know, but that's why we say it's entertainment, because they have to make it exciting. Otherwise, it would be pretty boring to play, right? So yeah, they are definitely built that way.
Very, very good point. Got a couple super chats coming in here. One $5 super chat. Hey guys, you've mentioned the odds are 1 in 62 of hitting the bonus in pinball, and it rules. What are the odds of hitting double diamond, triple sevens, bar, etc.? That we do not have the information on. So again, so the pinball bonus, the bonus when on a par sheet, it'll have the odds of hitting the bonus round, but it's not going to have the individual odds of every single other combination. So that's something that is, it's completely different, because that information is not listed on the par sheet. That's just kind of included with the other, with the overall odds in general, whereas the bonus is kind of separate, and they can say, hey, your odds of hitting the bonus are this and this. But good question on that. I wish we knew that information. And then we have a $49.99 super sticker from Justin. Justin, thank you so much. We really do appreciate that.
Very awesome.
Really appreciate having all of you guys here.
Thank you.
Let me see about getting a question pulled up here. Let's see. I'll take this one from Adam. Adam asks, can we ask about the tax on the hand pay? Do I need to have a social security number to pay taxes on it? I am not from the U.S., but visiting Vegas for next year. So if you are not from the United States, how that works is, if you are a foreign national, if you do not have U.S. citizenship, the casino is required to automatically take the tax for you. So if you win $4,000, you have no choice. You're going to get it after tax. So they're going to bring you $2,000 whatever. That's just the casino policy. That's how the regulations for the IRS are set up. As we take the casinos will take the taxes in advance before they even hand you the money. So good question.
A good one. And Dice Shark says, this is a good question. If you cannot tell the short term the difference in payout percentage settings, so how can we know or see a difference in higher limit slots? You can't. But all things equal, meaning if you are a lifetime gambler, you do go often, you would always want to better your odds in the long term. So we would recommend always playing the highest amount that you can afford to play. But that does not guarantee that in any individual session, you're going to see this marked difference. That's not going to be possible. It's kind of like, and this kind of works in the way of return to player statistics too. It's like, if you have two casinos that are next to each other and you look at the return to player statistics, say for the last 6 months, and you notice one casino is consistently paying 5 to 6% more than the other one, I would recommend going to the one that has the higher payback percentage or the higher return to player percentage. Does that mean that you're going to get a better result that visit? No, it doesn't. But all things equal, if you had to pick between the two, you would probably want to pick the one that has consistently paid a little bit more back in return to player. That suggests that the payback percentage is higher at that casino on average. But we don't want you to take that information and to think, oh, that means I really should stop playing on the Las Vegas Strip because you can't win there. You have to go downtown where the payback percentage is 2 to 3% higher. That's where you should play. And I don't want you to go down there with expectation that it's going to always be better, because it may not be. It's a short-term thing. We don't play long-term. But I hope that helped. It's kind of a complicated thing to answer, and I hope I answered it the best way that I could. But it's all about, we just don't want you to get caught up on the payback percentage, because it's just, you're not going to notice it in the short term. But you should always play the highest denomination that you feel comfortable playing, and just leave it at that. So hope that helps.
Very good. And I'll go ahead and take two, Mark. We have a $9.99 super chat coming in from Dirk. Dirk says, I need to know what you think of D Lucky Slots and how he does what he does. First of all, we really do appreciate your super chat, but we don't comment on other channels. We don't comment on other channels' business practices or anything like that. I will say this, however, just like most any other slot channel out there, they're only going to post what is beneficial for them. They're only going to post what they want you to see. Obviously, you've got a lot of short clips and stuff like that. It is very easy for somebody to just only post the wins, which again, when you're watching anything on the internet, guys, just always keep something in mind that, whoever the creator is going to post what's beneficial for their business. So, in this case, does he know anything that you don't know? No. I will say this though. He plays the machines that we tell you to play here. He plays pinball. He plays top dollar. Obviously, those games, as we've discussed, if you didn't catch it, our pinball video that we did the other day, we talk about why the pinball machine is so popular with high limit players. Anybody that's played high limit slots long enough, that has played, a variety of high limit slots, they know that pinball is the go-to. Pinball is the easiest to get a jackpot on, especially at the higher limits. So if you really want somebody to get a jackpot and you have the budget to play $50 or $100 slots, it is so incredibly easy at pinball. It's basically, the machine's basically handing them out, that of course they're going to play pinball a lot. And that's basically how it's done. And if you notice, majority 90+% of the videos is all pinball. We talked about this yesterday, that pinball is the easiest to hit a jackpot on. But do they know anything that you don't know? No, they don't. Obviously he picks good machines, but he picks the machines that we tell you to play anyway. So that's my thought on that. But thank you very much for your super chat. And other than that, we will not discuss other people's business practices. That is not what we get into here. Next question. Do all machines have a must pay by number? No, they do not. In order for a machine to have a must hit by or a must pay by, it has to clearly say it on the screen or the game rules or the glass or something like that. It has to be clearly labeled as a must hit. If you do not see the words must hit by, it is not a must hit by, period. Very good question. Appreciate that. Thank you.
And Sean says, I won $1,500 in free play this weekend. I did not get a tax form. Should I expect one in January? No, free play is not taxable, so you don't have to worry about that. Definitely nothing to worry about. And I'll take another one here real quick. Well, I thought I had one, so Brantley, go ahead and take one if you landed on another one. Sorry,
well,
guys.
Hey, we do have NJ Slot Guy here in the house.
Hey, what's
NJ,
up?
welcome to the chat. Welcome to the Sunday stream. We appreciate having you here. 2 jackpots in the same year on the same pinball at Golden Nugget. Yes, guys, I cannot say enough good things about pinball. I really can't. Pinball is the absolute best high-limit game that you can play, and there is a reason why high-limit players out there play pinball so much, is because it is just so incredibly easy to get a jackpot on high-limit pinball. That is why that when you look up, high-limit slot players, they all have one game in common, and it's pinball. It's just how the game is designed. It's very, very easy. And guys, if you haven't, check out NJ Slot Guy's channel. He's got a great channel. Check him out. Very, very awesome channel over there. So welcome, NJ. Appreciate it.
And Harley has a question. Is Ultimate Fire Link a good slot to play? I generally do not recommend any of the Link games, especially if you're first starting out in the casino. Those are pretty volatile, meaning that they're very hard to hit anything. There's a lot of dry spells. If you do enjoy that type of game, sure, play it, but set your budget and your amount of spins that you're going to, commit to before you sit down and start playing it, and be strong enough to leave. Those games are notoriously built to make you feel like you've almost hit something. You get 5 balls instead of 6, so you feel like you got to just keep playing it to get that bonus. They are built that way intentionally. That's what the volatility is. It's trying to get you to bet more, get sucked in, thinking I'm not going to get up from this machine until I hit a bonus. That's dangerous talk there. So we always recommend starting out at the lower volatile games. Look for those classic 3 reels. I know they're sometimes very boring to play, but they can build up your bankroll. And then if you want to give Firelink a chance, you can do it at that point. So thank you, Harley.
Very good. Question here from Larry. How different are the volatilities of single line versus 5 line? Same game and denom, except double diamond. Would the 5 line essentially perform like 5 spins on the single line or higher due to the 2 to 5 top line? So essentially how this works, the volatility is different. However, there are some games that the 5 line version actually has is actually less volatile than the single line version. The trade-off to that is what you'll notice. So we'll take triple stars, for example. So if you have a $5 triple stars machine that is single line, 3 credits, so $15 a spin, or you have a $5 triple stars machine that's 5 lines, obviously 5 credits to place a $25 a spin. How it changes is the payout amounts. So obviously, since you only have one pay line, and this tends to be the case with most machines where the pay lines increase, as the number of lines increase, it tends to drop the payout amounts per symbol. So like, let's say with the single line version, if you get 3 red 7s, and this is just example here, but if you get 3 red 7s on the single line version, you might get 400 credits. But on the 5 line version, you could get 3 red 7s on any line, and it might pay 150 credits. So there's a trade-off there. The 5 line version might be lower volatile because it's going to hit those combinations a lot more frequently, but the payout amounts are going to be less. So that's kind of how the differences work between single and 5 line. It's kind of a trade-off. With the 5 line versions, again, you'll get more chances to hit those combinations, but the combinations are going to pay a lot less. So I hope that kind of makes sense, Larry. I tried to explain that the best way I could. I don't know, Mark, do you want to
That's a tough one. I tried to explain that a couple of weeks ago, and I was worse. So,
all right. Well, thank you for your question, Larry.
Yeah, thank you. Matt says, thinking about buying a slot machine for entertainment at the house. I've seen several sites online that sell them. Any suggestions on where to purchase one? So Slot Machines Unlimited is a pretty good place to start, especially if it's your first one. If you actually go to ropethejackpot.com, Brantley has a section on there where you can learn about ownership of your own slot machine and where to buy. And I think there's even a coupon code there for you guys. For Slot Machines Unlimited. But here I want to give you a general rule of thumb here. If the price seems too good to be true, stay away from it. There are a lot of scammers out there. I get a lot of emails from people asking me for, where I want a top dollar. I found one for 2,000. Can you beat that price? You are not going to find a top dollar machine for $2,000. If it is listed at that, they are a scam. So be very careful. You can email me anytime and ask me about a vendor. If they're reputable, suggestions on which machine to get, I am happy to answer those for you. homeslotsfun@gmail.com is my email address. I'll be happy to help you with that. Somebody else had a question. I'm sorry, it's way past the chat about can I just plug it into a standard outlet in your house? And yes, you can. I strongly recommend that you put a surge protector on it. Do not just plug it straight into the wall unless it's got the moisture trip. What is it? GFI. If that has that on there, then you're fine. But these things are not. They're meant to stay on all the time and powered all the time. And if there's any kind of surge, you can really damage the power supply and some other components in the machine. So make sure you have a surge protector on it if you do plug it in. But good luck out there, Matt.
Yeah, very good question. And yes, you can visit ropethejackpot.com. There is a slot buyer's guide on there with a link to Slot Machines Unlimited. They are a reputable dealer. They really know their stuff, and they can find you just about any game that you're looking for. So check them out, Slot Machines Unlimited, at ropethejackpot.com. Super chat coming in from Kevin, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Kevin. On your advice, I put $100 in a $25 double diamond machine. Second spin, I hit 7-7 double, $4,000. Thank you. You know what? That is really impressive. I would have started with a much bigger budget to play $25 double diamond, but you really lucked out. And double diamond is such a good machine, guys. It really is. Don't get used to that, because that is extremely rare for it to just hit, within 2 spins, especially a combo like that. But very, very good. Congratulations on that. I really appreciate hearing about that.
Yeah, congratulations. And guys, yeah, Double Diamond is such a good game. If you're new to slots, you want to get your first taste of a good slot machine to play, look for that Double Diamond machine. Most casinos have them. Unfortunately, a lot of them are moving into the high limit room, but if you go to an older casino, you might be able to find it just on the regular floor. Highly recommend that game. We talk about it all the time on here, and we do that for a reason.
Absolutely. I'm going to take one more here because that was kind of a short one. Spend to Win has a good question. What denom did you start playing slots at? So the thing is I didn't always play high limit slots, and this is something that is fairly common. If you talk to a lot of high limit slot players, you know, if you ask a lot of these people out there that have slot channels, NJ, if you're still here in the chat, you can feel free to chime in onto this. Most of us did not start at high limits. It is definitely a skill of building up and learning what works and all of that. I started out playing quarter machines. And then I remember, you know, it's funny, I look back on it. I started out playing on quarter machines back when I could very first gamble at the age of 18, where I lived at the time. And then I started winning a little bit more. And then I went to dollar machines. And then I started, you know, getting interested in how slots work. And then I went to $5 machines and then $10 machines. And now we're up to playing, you know, $25, $50, and $100 machines. So it just kind of grows. It's a stepping stone. And you guys can get there too. Because I didn't start out, you know, I didn't just wake up one morning and just go ham and go right to high limits. I don't think anybody did. Even there's a lot of really successful gamblers out there that, you know, make a living off of this, that constantly play high limits now. And you talk to them and they didn't start like that. So this is all something that you guys can start at. And that's kind of the journey of, you know, having you here on this channel, because we're teaching you what works, what doesn't work from experience. So if you want to build yourself up to playing those higher limits, you are definitely in the right place. So very good question. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Make sure you always play with the budget's always important, guys. Like if you, you know, it is definitely a stepping stone. Like Brantley said, most people start out low and then they start to move up as they start to learn how to play and how to find the best machines and all that, but never overextend yourself. If you can only afford to lose $1,000 every 6 months in a casino, you shouldn't be playing $25 machines, you know, just period. It may be alluring, but it's just not, that's not the budget level for it. So, you know, stick within your budget. But yeah, it is a stepping stone. And if you're doing well, raise your bet a little bit, you'll do even better. But, you know, we always have to have that disclaimer in that we don't want you to ever overextend yourself, because that's when things get dangerous. So,
and very well said, Mark.
Randy has a really good question. If every spin is totally random, how does the machine balance itself when it's severely out of balance? So I did an excellent video. I guess I shouldn't say it is, but I did a video a couple of weeks ago about how slot machines work. It's on the Cowboy Slots channel. Just go back and look at it. I tried to explain this the best way I could. Let me just kind of give you a brief example. So there's basically something called a par sheet, and a par sheet is, you can think of it as documentation for each slot machine that is made on how it's supposed to pay out over time. It contains something called virtual reels, which these are basically different symbols that can be picked from on the random number generator. So if it's a 3-reel machine, the random number generator is going to stop 3 times and pick a virtual symbol from each of those 3 columns, and then it will then translate over to the physical reels if it's a physical reel machine, or if it's a virtual reel machine like a touch screen, it'll translate it to that. That's how they control the payback percentage. So is it random? Yes, the result of you pushing the button generates a random number, but how it keeps in control is based off what that random number ends up picking from. That is how it decides what to pick from and end up balancing the machine. But remember, balancing is not an active process on a machine. It is a passive process. And what I mean by that is that it does not start changing the way the game plays because it's unbalanced. It's very important that you understand that. And that's why a lot of people get trapped thinking, man, I have put thousands of dollars into this machine. It's got to start paying out because it's way in the hole. It's way unbalanced. This double top dollar that I mentioned earlier, it's currently at 34% payback. After my session yesterday, it's set at 96% payback. So it's got a long ways to go, but it's not going to start changing the way it plays to get there. We know from the par sheets that after about 10 million spins, all of those swings will balance out and end up in that range. And it's only about 0.6% off on either side after running that simulation over and over and over again. So that's how it keeps with the balancing. But just remember, machines do not actively balance. They passively balance. That's the most important thing I can tell you. But anyway, for a full explanation, I try to do a lot of hands-on stuff. Go check out that video on how slot machines actually work. And I hope that answers your question. So thank you, Randy.
Very good. Very good, Mark. I'll take this question here from Adam Nash. Cowboy, one of the two casinos that is a racino I spoke with, and they said they were class 3, but they have a racetrack. I thought if the casino has a racetrack, all slots were categorized as class 2. Wrong. It depends. So, for example, guys, Indiana is a great example. So, Indiana, a lot of the casinos in Indiana have racetracks attached to them. Just because they have a horse track, the casino can still be independent of that. So in Indiana, they do have class 3 slot machines. They're not HHR, even though they have a horse track attached to them. So every casino is different. But if it is classified as a historic horse racing machine, then it has no class. There's not class 2 or 3 differentiated with that, with HHR machines, because they're not regulated under the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act. But not all casinos with a horse track are HHR. There are casinos out there. Indiana is a perfect example. Indiana has horse tracks and everything, but the actual casino itself is still class 3. They're standalone RNG based slot machine units. So I hope that helps to clarify that. Let me know if it was Indiana that you're talking about, because in that case, then they are correct. It is class 3 machines. I'll take one more here. Lotto Vegas, how do you feel about Colorado's casinos outside of Denver? It has been years since I have been there. I've been thinking of going back down. It's actually not too far. It's only about, I think, maybe a 6-7 hour drive from my house in Wyoming. So it's not too far. But I think if I'm going to drive that distance, I'd prefer to just go to Vegas or, someplace else. But I'll have to get back down there eventually. I can't really give an honest opinion on it because it has been so long since I've been there. I think the last time I was there was 2009. So, but very good question. If I do go there, I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you posted and updated. And we did have one more super chat come in from Mindset Motivation, $5 super chat. Is the Double Diamond Deluxe similar to the regular one, the one with the nudge feature? Also, are all Ainsworth machines good to play? So a couple questions in here. The Double Diamond Deluxe is similar to the regular one. Its volatility is a little bit higher, but really not that much of a difference. Anytime you add a feature like a deluxe or a bonus or anything, obviously it's going to raise the volatility of it a little bit. But in between Double Diamond Deluxe and Double Diamond, just the regular version, the volatility is very slight in difference between those two games. Also, are all Ainsworth machines good to play? I would say no. There are some good ones, even within the must hit by class, guys. There's a Thunder Cash is really, really good and really, really fun. The Enforcer is really good and really fun. But then you've got Mustang Money too, which has a terrible bonus. And it's it's in the same classification. So are all Ainsworth machines good to play? I would say no. But most of them are. Most of them are pretty good to play. Mark, do you want to touch on any of those Ainsworth games?
No, I feel the same way. I stay away from Mustang Money. I know a lot of people love that one, but the bonus rounds are just tough. They're really tough compared to the other ones. They don't have the locking wilds. I love the locking wilds. I think that just adds to the excitement of it. But it's just a different flavor. I mean, they have to do different types of machines to attract different types of people. So. And Astrocat has a good question here. Do you personally also enjoy online slots, table games, or only land-based? So personally, I would never play an online casino, even if it was legitimate and legal and all that. But that's just a personal decision. I think unless you are very strong-willed, and I mean really strong, I think playing blackjack while you're sitting on the toilet is a bad idea. Because I think you could just get carried away very easily. Where a casino, you have to physically drive to it. Hopefully you're just taking what you can afford to lose. You don't have accesses to cash, things like that. It's much more enjoyable. You can get up and move around. You get drinks, a lot of times free drinks. You're getting comps. A lot of online casinos don't give you comps. To me, it's a much better experience to go. But I understand why online casinos exist. Some people are just not able to go to the casino. They don't have a ride there, whatever the case is. They don't have one close by. There's a lot of reasons, but if I were to pick between the two, I would always be at a land-based casino. What about you, Brantley? How do you feel about all those?
Honestly, online slots, table games, I would stay away from. I would completely stay away from. I don't recommend them at all. It's not fun, and you don't know what's going on behind the background. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and the laws are really gray. Anytime somebody asks me about online slots or online games, my immediate answer is always going to be no. I don't care where it is. It's just no. The answer is going to be no. There's only a couple of situations where online games are okay. And that is, for example, in Delaware. Delaware is interesting. Delaware has no physical casinos, but you can gamble online through a local casino, which is kind of interesting and different. We put that information up on ropethejackpot.com under the casino guide. Delaware is one state that really does things a little different. And then with online casinos in general, you always want to stick to something that has a name brand. So Caesars, MGM, FanDuel, because those are the legitimate companies. Anything else outside of the legitimate companies when it comes to online gambling, stay away from. And that's period. I wouldn't recommend online gambling at all. Very good question. Let's see here. I kind of lost my Mark. If you have another one,
that's okay. I kind of lost my place too, but let's see. There was one.
I'll take this one here.
Now we found it at the same time.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so Sanders says heading to Vegas in 2 weeks. We'll be pulling money with Bill. We have $600 as $5 pinball, reasonable place to start. I think it is. I think that's a good place. I see if you can find the 2 credit version, the max bet 2 credit version. Then it will be $10 to spin, and you get to enjoy the same bonus. Those are kind of disappearing, a little bit harder to find, but most of the high limit rooms have those. And I think I know for sure, what was it? MGM Grand in their high limit room has a $5 2 credit pinball.
Yes, they do.
So I know they have one for sure. I can't think of the other places that might have the 2 credit version, but yeah, look around for that one if you can. But good luck. Let us know how it goes.
Very good luck. Pinball is a great game. Good game to start.
Oh, really?
Hey, I love. Pinball. I swear by that.
I'm teasing you, Brantley.
All right. Question here from Steven. States really need to do not really a question, more of a statement, but I'll touch on it. States really need to redo the laws around gambling. Class 2 and HHR don't provide any benefit for anybody. Either allow Class 3 or not allow any slots at all. Gambling is gambling. Very true. The gambling laws on the federal level, the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act came out in 1988. And it really hasn't been redone since then. Obviously, individual states have compacts with tribes. But as for HHR machines, legally, they're still kind of a gray area because a lot of states really don't have very, very good set definitions and standards for what an HHR machine should be. They're getting there. They are getting there. They've improved a lot over the recent years. And actually, one thing that we learned from G2E is that HHR is actually coming to more places. So we're going to start to see within our lifetime, within the next 10, 20 years, we're going to start to see a ton of HHR machines popping up in places that we would have never expected. And I think over time, as they do get more popular and as they do get out there, I think that the laws will slowly start to change. But I agree with you. Class 3 is just the better way to go because Class 3 is, a slot machine is Class 3. Everything else outside of that is not a slot machine. So I agree with you. I think they should just allow Class 3. And a lot of states are starting to loosen up. There's only 2 states where there is no gambling at all whatsoever, and that's Utah and Hawaii. They don't even have lotteries there, which is interesting. But no, the laws will change over time. I agree with you there, Stephen. Good comment.
And C Car Guy has a question, new to the channel, so welcome. Is there a trustworthy app on slot machines I can put on my phone to play just for fun? Yeah, there's tons out there. My advice, though, is don't get into a situation where you start buying virtual coins to play longer. That's what they're all based on. There's a lot of ways around that. You can get like an old iPad or something and play them and then restore the iPad and you get all your free coins again. But I recommend not, because it's just, they suck you in by constantly trying to get you buy virtual coins and you never get any kind of payout from it, right? It's just getting you to play longer. So you don't really have to do that. Double Down Casino is probably my favorite one because they have a ton of IGT machines in there. I do like playing that one a lot. They have several different versions. They have a Double Down Classic, I think, And then they have one more, and I can't remember the name of it, but that's a pretty good one to start with. And then you can go from there. But yeah, definitely you can scratch your itch very, very quickly with those. They have some really good games in there.
Absolutely. Questions here from Jones Dylan. Greetings, Brantley and Marc. How y'all doing? We're doing pretty good today. We're happy to be here. Happy that it's Sunday. Happy to be on the live stream. So I've been playing a lot more of the slots you wanted me to play, and I've done very well on them. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome. And that is a testament to our channel. All of the information that we give you guys is technical, based on fact. It works. There's thousands of people on our channel, thousands of comments. There's a reason why we're growing as quick as we are, is because the information that we're giving you is factual, correct, and it works. So we love hearing from you guys. We love hearing your testimonies. And the only thing we ask is just help us spread the word. If there's a video out there that really helped you or that you found interesting, share it. Share it on your social medias. Have your friends and family subscribe. We're getting really close to 100,000 subscriber, guys. We're hopefully we'll be able to do it before our 1-year anniversary in February. So guys, thank you so much. It's really a testament to our channel, and we really appreciate having you all here and helping you guys out. So congratulations and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kim says, your thoughts on $2.50 denom on old school machines? Yeah, I mean, depending on which old school, we want to make sure you don't, just because it's an old machine doesn't necessarily mean it's a good machine to play. There are a lot of old machines that have a lot of volatility in them, like 5 times pay, 10 times pay, 12 times pay. Those are ones to avoid. But your older school blazing sevens, double diamond, triple stars, those are the ones that you want to look for. But either of those denominations are really good. Of course, it depends on your budget. Of course, that's really, the answer that you have to provide. But as for old school machines, we both really enjoy those. We think they're the best to play in the casino. So yeah, be on the lookout for those. Good luck.
Absolutely. Question here from Adam. Cowboy, would the Gaming Commission of a state specifically know what class of slots are to a specific casino is or no? I want to bypass asking each casino to get a summary that is truthful. Well, luckily for you, we have on our website. Let me pull this up. I will put this up here if I still have it. So it's actually in the ticker in the bottom there, where on our channel or on our website at ropethejackpot.com, we have a casino guide that actually has everything listed, all of the classifications of tribal casinos. So with tribal casinos, they're all listed out there by their class. That information that's on the website is pulled directly from the federal government. So whatever license the casino holds, if you go to the website at ropethejackpot.com, and Tammy, thank you so much for pulling that up. If you go to that ropethejackpot.com, perfect. And Marc has it right here. So under our casino guide, you can look up tribal casinos or click on your state and see. Actually, Marc, really quick, click on Delaware. Okay, so this is what I was telling you guys about with Delaware that's interesting, is there's no current tribal casinos in Delaware. However, they allow you to play online through local networks, which is interesting. So I wanted to point that out really quick about Delaware. So we can kind of go back and then we'll just tap on another random state. So Georgia has no casinos. And it says the only things that are listed there. So let's see, Arkansas. Arkansas has no Indian casinos. However, they have HHR machines. So this is a great resource for you guys to use. And then I'm trying to think. Actually, go to Wyoming. We'll pull up Wyoming here. But all of this is available, again, at ropethejackpot.com. So if you click on Wyoming here, so this is Wyoming. So this has our casinos listed. All of the classes, so you see class 3, class 3, class 2, and 3, and then class 3 again. And then also as up at the top, it says that we also have HHR and skill-based devices. So check this website out. If you're wondering what classification your casino is, check out ropethejackpot.com. One thing that I do want to keep in mind to let you guys know is that is all tribal casinos right now. If your casino is not listed, most likely it is a class 3 because it's not tribal, so it doesn't fall under IGRA. So it would be a class 3 if your casino is not listed on there. So just keep that in mind. But yes, definitely want to check that out. And we do have a $10 super sticker coming in from Linda K. Linda, thank you so much. We appreciate that greatly. We're happy to have you here. So thank you very much for that, Linda.
And back on the topic of mobile games, Rick James has a good point here. Don't provide your email or link it to Facebook. Yeah, you don't have to. They will entice you with extra free coins and all that stuff. That's just a way that they can data mine and get more information on you, the player. But you don't have to do that. There's going to be some kind of button on there to let you avoid that. But thank you, Rick, for bringing that up. That's really a good point. And Spin to Win also says quick hit slots on the iPhone is good as well. I have played that one. Just don't buy the coins. You get free coins every day. So there are plenty of apps out there that you could go through all of them in a single day. And then the next day you get free coins. And you get to go through all of them again. So there's plenty out there.
I'm going to take this one. This is a local question. Cody Ironworks, greetings from Cody. Are these slot-looking machines in the bars class 2 machines? No, they are not. So this is a local Wyoming question. So this one I can answer very well. The machines that we have in our bars in Wyoming are skill-based games. They are considered puzzles. So basically, every time you hit the spin button, it will bring in another puzzle, and you have to select a square to make a wild combination on them. You can mess up and miss the square and not get the combination, so that's what makes it a game of skill. They are pretty good games to play. I actually, our bar right down the street, I go down there quite frequently and play those skill games. I think they're a lot of fun. They're not as good as slot machines, but they are a lot of fun. So no, they don't have a class because they're considered skill-based games. And then also we have our smaller places like Wyoming Downs, which is all HHR based gaming. So if you are in Wyoming and you want to gamble at a real casino, go to Shoshone Rose in Lander or Wind River Casino in Riverton, Wyoming. Those are the two best places that we have here. Really our two only biggest casinos. But good to see you back on here, Cody. Appreciate the question.
And Donna has a good question. Do slot machines really have facial recognition? If so, what is the purpose of it as a casino? No, they do not. The only cameras I've ever seen on slot machines are usually on tournament machines, and that's just so they can put it on the board and see everybody having fun. But there's no facial recognition, and even if they did have that, they couldn't do anything with that information to manipulate the way the game plays. It's just like the player's card thing. There's nothing that they can do to say, it's Mark. We need to tighten this up fast because he's just going to lose all his money and we need it. So no, nothing like that happens. So you don't need to worry about that at all.
Exactly. Let's see here. Mark, if you've got another one you want to pull up.
Johnny Ver says, I love pinball. Well, we love hearing that. Thank you, Brantley, for showing us all about it. My question is, on average, how many spins on average before I show upon a line? Oh, I guess you're assuming the pinball bonus. So the average is 1 in 62, but you got to remember that's an average. It could be a lot less than that. It could be a lot more, but over the long stretch, that's the average of, when you would get the bonus. So we don't want you to count to 62 and say, hey, what the heck? You told us 62. It's definitely an average, and it's something that you can use to compare to other machines in that class. We like to always offer double top dollar as an example where it's 1 in 41. So it's a lot more frequent that the bonus will come up, but the average bonus on double top dollar is less than the average bonus on pinball. So that's the trade-off, right? So just keep that in mind as you're playing. It is 1 in 62, but you could go hundreds of spins and not get the bonus, or you could do 2 spins to get the bonus like Brantley always seems to do. So you could have both sides of it.
Yeah, I seem to, for some reason with pinball, and it does not happen all the time, guys. I just have to say this. Even though I love pinball, and even though we talk a lot about it, and we have some great sessions on pinball, I have way more great sessions on pinball than I do have any kind of losing session on pinball. However, it does not happen all the time. And that's one very important thing to remember, guys, is it is still gambling. It could be the greatest game in the world. It could have, just like Mark said about the odds, even though the odds of getting the bonus are 1 in 62. Don't spin it 62 times and expect to get the bonus, because there are times it can go a lot longer than that and not get the bonus. But yes, pinball is a great game, but it is still a slot machine. Always do keep that in mind. Please do. And gamble within your budget, within your means. Don't overextend yourself. Question here from Deborah. Took $100 to the casino and played Blazing Sevens 3 reels and have won more than I've lost. Great advice. Blazing Sevens is another phenomenal game. It is very low in volatility. And again, the low in volatility means that it has the chance to hit that top line more frequently. And the Blazing Sevens really hits a lot. It really hits a lot. Several times a day it will go. So yes, it's a very good game to play. Thank you very much for sharing, Deborah. We appreciate it.
Just to throw another thing out, guys, if you are in Vegas and you are anywhere near MGM Grand, go play the Cherry Jubilee inside of there. Those games are ridiculously good to hit on. In fact, I told the Let's Go Handpay guys, they're another YouTube channel. I told them, go over there and check those out. They hit the top line jackpot on the $1 version, the $2 version, and the $5 version all the same day. Yep. Those hit the top line jackpots very frequently. But that's about it. Like if you go and look at the pay table, there's only like 6 different possibilities of a win. And so it's very simple. And that's why we talk about volatility in a way that you can kind of tell is by looking at the pay table and understanding, how far away is that top line jackpot from your base bet, and also how complicated is the game. That game has no bonuses. It's boring as hell to play. You don't get a whole lot of low wins, but the chances of getting that top level jackpot or that top level progressive is really high compared to everything else in the casino. So if you are on a budget or you feel like playing dollar machine and you want your best chances, I would recommend those as well as the Blazing Sevens. Those are just really good games to play. So good luck out there.
Very good games to play.
And Cornbread has a question. I'm going to let everybody answer this for him. How do you feel about the newer digital Dragon Link machines? So don't feed the dragons. That's number one. Number two, any of the Link games we do not recommend on here. You can play them, but you should understand going in that they're highly volatile, which means you're going to have a lot of dead spins. And we don't want you to go through that unless you have the bankroll and the budget to support those dead spins. So we always recommend, if you do really, really want to play those games, build your bankroll up on a lower volatile game first, and then go play that game. But go in expecting to have a lot of losing spins. And when we say losing spins, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't get any win. You'll just always get a win, but it's lower than what you're betting. And so it just kind of eats away at your budget or eats away at your credits over a long period of time. So you're chasing a big win, and that can be dangerous. So just know what you're getting into before you sit down and play those Link games. And they're all pretty much the same.
Very good. Mark, I think I might have lost audio. Are you still able to hear me?
Okay. Yeah, perfect. I can still hear you.
Okay. Awesome. Good deal. I was like, wait a minute.
You're kind of spacing out. I was like, uh-oh.
Something had cut out for just a brief minute there. Technical difficulties.
All good.
Question here from Nate B. Slots. Hey, Cowboy, what are your feelings on the W2 set at 1,200? And when is this going to be raised to something realistic in today's day? Thanks. That is all on Uncle Sam. That's nothing that the casinos have to, have any control over whatsoever. Unfortunately, I wish that were, not the case. But yeah, it all has to do with the government. One thing I do want to share with you guys, which I'll show you. This is something, if you are a frequent gambler, could help you out. I just picked up one of these little things. They're really common, like in the school supply section at your store. I have it all listed by month, and these are all my W2Gs for the year so far. So everything is listed out, and then all I do is I take this at the end of the year and I hand it to my accountant. So for those of you out there that do gamble a lot, get you one of these. It's a great way to keep all of your W2Gs organized. And then when you do, when it comes time to tax time, whether it's giving it to your accountant or handling it yourself, everything is already divided for you by the month. And then also you can help keep track to see how many wins that you've had in a month and so on and so forth. But no, I wish it was higher than 1,200 because trust me, tax time is killer if you gamble a lot. If you gamble a lot, tax time can be really, really, really bad. But as for raising the limit, hopefully they'll do that eventually, but not sure when that's going to come. Good question.
Yep. inflation sure has risen since they
Oh
said
yeah,
that.
everything has risen.
I think that somebody calculated, because I think it was back in the 70s that it was set at 1,200, and somebody calculated it to equal about 7,200. So even if they raised it to 5,000, it's still not even keeping up with inflation. So it's pretty wild. And want to say thank you to a new member here, Ninja Puppy. Thank you so much. And
Yes,
don't
thank you
forget,
very much.
we have Member Mondays. So tomorrow we will have Member Mondays, where we have another live stream, but it's very low key. You can really get your questions answered. But feel free to come and check that out. So thank you so much for your contribution. Really appreciate it.
And
I'll
if
take
you
another
guys
one.
would,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark. If you guys would like to become a member of the channel, it's entirely optional, but as a member, you do get an added extra live stream every single week on Monday. If you would like to become a member, all the proceeds help the channel out, and the link is in the video description down below. So thank you guys very much. We do appreciate that. Go on, Mark.
Yeah, you're good. Gary Beck says, what are some good slots to play if we don't have top dollar, pinball, or double diamond? So it could be a pretty bad casino if they don't have any of those. But, triple stars, what is it? Triple dollars. Trying to think of some others. Stay away from ones that have a lot of multipliers, like the 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times pay, 5 times pay, 10 times pay, 12 times pay. Those are the ones that we really want you to stay away from. If there's a double diamonds free game version, play that one. But really go in and look at the older machines, like the old classic reels. Now they're not all good, like we've been saying, but majority are compared to the newer style video slots. And so look for those first, and then you can kind of narrow it down from there. So hopefully I threw out some examples there that they might have. If they don't have any of those, probably not a great casino to go gamble at, to be honest, because they're probably stocking it full with high volatile machines, and it's not going to be good for you, and it won't be good for them in the long run either. So
Exactly.
Good luck.
Yes, best of luck to you. Question here, IGN, fellow slot tech from Florida. Welcome in. We appreciate having you here. Been doing this for 2 years, and man, I still have so much to learn. Do you guys deal with any of the newer machines or just reels? When I was working for the casino, we had all of the new machines. We had the Black Diamonds, we had the Dancing Drums, we had the Dragon Links, we had the Lightning Links. I had all of those when I worked in the casino, so we are very familiar with all of them. It is a learning curve. It is a learning curve. New games are coming out all the time, constantly. And each of those games, as you've probably seen on the par sheets, they have widely different volatility indexes. I mean, a lot of the newer games coming out now, you've got par sheets that are 20, 30 pages long, compared to back in the day when a par sheet was just a single piece of paper.
Right.
So yeah, lots to learn. Obviously, it's a learning curve. Get involved. Like I always say, from a slot tech perspective, try to get involved with the manufacturers, because that's really where you start to really learn the deeper knowledge of everything. Is if it's something that you really want to get into, talk to when your reps come by, talk to your reps, talk to your field techs, stuff like that, because that's going to be really where the bulk of some good information is going to come from. But definitely welcome on the channel. We appreciate having you here. Always good to have a fellow tech on the channel, so welcome. And we do have 2 more super stickers coming in. One $10 super sticker from Deborah. Deborah, thank you so much for that. 2 great guys with great advice. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We try our best here.
Thank you, Deborah.
We try our best to answer everybody's questions and get through here as best as we can. We also have a €5.99 super sticker. Thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate that. All those super chats and super stickers are really helpful to the channel, guys. They really are. So thank you guys so much for your support.
And I might as well put this one up. Y'all should come up with a Don't Feed the Dragon. We have one.
We're so
close, guys. We're so close, guys. Like, it's the graphics we use are licensed, and we're getting those released so that we can sell them to you guys. So they will be in the store most likely before the end of the year. We're trying very hard. People ask us every live stream, but we do have a Don't Feed the Dragon shirt. I wish I had it here to show you guys, but I've worn it in the past. Yeah, do you have your? You don't have yours? Okay.
No, I don't have mine.
But yeah, we're trying, guys. We're trying.
It will come eventually. I promise. It will come eventually. It's just everything takes time.
Shirts are probably the worst. Like if it was a coffee cup or a poker chip or something, those are a lot easier. But shirts, there's all different sizes. You have to do the artwork. You have to get it to look right on the shirt, and we have to pay for the artwork so that we can release it to you guys, all that kind of stuff. It's just logistics sometimes is just difficult. And that just happens to be one of the shirts. We didn't know people would love them. So
yeah,
we only built them one time, Yeah. So
we just
that's the way it works
made those for fun.
Yeah.
I'll take a comment here from Clara.
Sure.
While in Sturgis, I went to Deadwood casinos and did pretty good. Thank you both for all your info. I have not been to Deadwood yet, and it's not even that far from me. I think it's like the drive is probably like 6 hours or so. But I have heard nothing but positive things come out of Deadwood. Now, I've never been, so I cannot give my personal opinion on it, but I know Greg and Stacy of Stacy's High Limit Slots, they went to Deadwood and they hit like $67,000 on a triple stars machine, which was just crazy. So I've kind of learned a little bit about Deadwood from watching their videos because they've been a few times. I really do want to make a trip to Deadwood. I actually was planning on going a couple weeks ago, but then I had to cancel. I had some stuff coming up. It will definitely be a place that I have to go check out because I've heard a lot of good things about it. Just because I've heard a lot of good things about it, I haven't had a chance to evaluate it myself. So I don't want to get my hopes too high and then get there and it be, total crap. So we'll see.
Right.
I will judge it independently for myself when I go there. But yes, I do want to go there eventually.
And Ricky, let's see. Whoops. So Ricky says, when I make a walk of the casino and see machines barely lit or other dissatisfying are still worth the play. Yes. In fact,
Yes.
NJ Slot Guy, if he's still here, he does the same thing. He says the more faded the reels are, the better to play. And I cannot agree with that more, guys. That means they have had a lot of play. People have been playing them forever, and plus they've been in there. The lights have completely bleeded out, all color left in those symbols. Those are really good games to play. That's a pretty good way to look. And we're glad that you're walking around the casino and not just going right to the machine that's in the front and flashy and trying to get you to play it, Walk the floor. That is a big tip from us. So
absolutely. Comment here from a Ninja Puppy. I bought my poker chip last week. It's super nice. Thank you so much for your support. And guys, if you are interested in getting those poker chips, we have the sale going on right now through the month of November. It's almost over. So if you have not gotten your sale items, head over there because we have lots of wristbands. We have the bungee cords for your casino cards. We have poker chips. All of that goes to help the channel, guys. And it's really cool, fun swag. I've actually seen them out and about in the wild now. So people with poker chips and the bungees and the wristbands and all that. The wristbands are really cool. I had to go with something unique. I went with camo. Obviously, it's me. I have to go with camo. So they're really cool wristbands. So check them out. They're on the website, ropethejackpot.com, and they are on sale now. I think just about 3 days left of that sale, and then they go back to normal price. So check them out.
All right, I'll take two real quick, Brantley, if you go with that.
Go ahead.
So Slotty's Hottie, I saw your question in here earlier. I'm glad you asked it again. So what does it mean when a casino gets rid of a game that was popular and paying out? So we've talked about this in the past. It's not because it's paying out. Like, you've got to make sure that you guys understand that. When a machine is like paying out more than it should, they do not remove the machine because of that. In fact, there's a lot of legal reasons that they can't do that. The main reason that they do that is either because the game was leased, meaning they have to give it back to the manufacturer. They don't have a choice. The lease agreement is up. And that's way more popular now than it ever has been. And the second reason is that just the performance of the game, even though it seems to be paying out and people are playing it, we don't know what the back end numbers look like. You can only see when you're there that it's crowded and people are sitting there. But they want games in that will get the most people playing. They do not focus on, we're going to wait till this machine is paying back 100 or paying back 33%, and then we're going to take it off the floor because it's losing us money. They don't make decisions based off of that. In a lot of cases, they can't. So don't get too focused on that. So that's just, it's a constant thing. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. You see a machine that's always being played, and then suddenly you go back and it's not there anymore. In that case, it's probably a lease agreement that expired and they had to give the machine back. So, and the other question real quick, Jason Wise says, what state is the best to game in your opinion, as far as payback and slot machines and better odds in table games? Well, odds and table games are pretty consistent, right? The only difference is if there's any kind of, we call them sucker bets, like, on the blackjack table, some extra bets like insurance, and then some have, pair plus and things like that. But for slot machines, I don't really actually focus so much on payback percentage or anything like that. I focus more on which place is going to give me the most long-term comps and benefits for my losses. That's the way I look at it. And so for me, Las Vegas seems to be the best place for that, just because I really can do hardly any gambling at all. And as long as I stay in a hotel there and I buy food at the hotel or I get room service, I'm earning points for all of that stuff.
Yep.
And so I get free rooms, and that doesn't happen in many places. So I focus more on that. If I am going to gamble, at least I know that my room is covered and my food is covered and everything else, show tickets is covered and all that kind of stuff. That's the best place to get comps, in my opinion. So that's where I focus. What about you, Brantley? What do you think about that? You'd probably say Wyoming.
For me, the best state to game in, honestly, I've got to say Wyoming, guys. A couple reasons for that. In the state of Wyoming, we only have really two actual casinos. There's Wind River and Shoshone Rose. Shoshone Rose is hands down one of the best casinos I've ever played at. It is smaller, but everybody there is super friendly. Everything there is really clean. It's a lot quieter. I mean, you got to think Wyoming is the least populated state in the entire country. And then you put a casino in the middle of the state that's not around anything else. It's very difficult to get to in many cases, like especially if you're coming from outside of Wyoming, you either have to do a long road trip or you have to, take 2 or 3 different flights to get there. So it's not exactly easy for somebody outside of Wyoming to get in. It is very quiet and very the gaming experience there. I can sit there and play slots for hours and have nobody else around and have, I have my pick of machines. I have my pick of denominations. Everybody there knows me. Everybody is really friendly. Everything I need is there. They've got great food. They've got a great hotel. I can't say enough good things about it. And then in terms of the odds, you also have to think of too, and like Mark said, you don't want to always focus on the payback percentage. However, in the long term, if you are going to be gambling at a place long term, or if there's a casino next to your house, you want to take it into consideration. And one thing is when you take a casino and you put it that so far remote that nothing else is around it, it has no other competition, and there's nothing, they will tend to have a much higher payback percentage because they've got to get people retained. The retention for players has to be high in that kind of a demographic. So with the casinos here in Wyoming, because we're not very populated at all, and because we have a very small population, people talk, and again, there's not a lot of outside travelers coming in. That casino has to keep people happy, and they keep it happy by having great payback percentages. That's why I can go to Shoshone Rose with a $500 pinball budget and walk out with $5,000 easy. If I were to take $500 to Las Vegas, I'd lose it in 3 seconds. So there's a huge difference there, and that's why I would always choose Wyoming casinos over anything else. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but very good question.
Yep. And Equinox 365 says, does adjusting the bet multiplier feature on a machine have any effect on the outcome? If not, are there any benefits of increasing the multiplier as a low budget player? Thanks. So it's a really loaded question, but you're going to have to look at either the game rules or the bet panel and understand what benefit you're getting over one or the other, because it's different on a lot of different machines. For example, one of the game reviews that we did coming up, there was a difference between betting $2.50 and $5. And the only discernible difference is that the progressives were higher if I bet on the $5 amount. Doesn't seem worth it to me. Progressives are really hard to get. We don't chase progressives here. So I stuck with the $2.50 and I felt comfortable doing that. Now, there are some games, though, that you may not be eligible for certain bonuses unless you bet a certain amount. Or there may be some games that say you have an increased chance of getting a bonus or increased chance of hitting the progressive if you bet a certain amount. You should look at the game rules and look at the actual bet panel. It usually will be displayed right on there what kind of benefit you're getting from betting one amount over the other. And then you make the determination. I wish I could just give you a general answer, but every machine is different. But the one last thing I'll say is that if it does say increased chance of progressive or increased chance of wilds or anything like that, it can be a pretty small chance. So we don't want you to overextend your budget feeling like you have to bet max to get any enjoyment or payback on that game. That's typically not the case. They're trying to get you to play more, but you should always not overextend yourself on that. So hopefully that helps you. Look at those game rules because they'll tell you a lot about the benefits of betting certain amounts on the game.
Exactly. Francis is here. Francis, welcome. Hello, my favorite Cowboys. Unfortunately, no pinball in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Still asking. Thank you. Very grateful to you both. And thank you, Francis, for your $5 super sticker. We really do appreciate having you here. And hopefully, Albuquerque will eventually get pinball. You never know. Keep asking. And that's one thing we talked about in that pinball video, guys.
Sandia does have 2 double top dollars in there. I walked through when I was there a couple months ago, and they had
nice
2 double top dollars. I think they were $5 denomination only. But yeah, at least they got something. But I didn't see any pinball, so you're right. I didn't see any pinball there.
Hopefully pinball will come one day.
I think so.
I'll take this one here really quick from Jason. Where did it go? There we go. Jason, how much budget for a $5, $10, $25 machine in your opinion minimum? So this is really easy. I always say stick with the 1% rule. Always, first of all, you always want to keep in mind your bet amount. So if it's a $5 machine, is it 3 credits? Is it 2 credits? Let's say if it's a $5 machine and it's 2 credits. So it's $10 is what you plan on betting on. Now, if you're going to play single credit, obviously adjust it. But whatever your bet amount is, your bet amount should be 1% of your total overall budget that you bring with you. And that is just the safe bet. So if you want to play $10 per spin or $5 machine at 2 credits, $10 per spin, bring with you $1,000. Plan on that. So it's really easy. It's really, really easy. And the reason being is if you keep your bet amount at that 1%, it gives you enough cushion to where you can withstand the I cannot talk today. You can withstand the swings of the machine for a lot longer. So again, stick to that 1% rule. And really quick, another $10 super chat coming in. Thank you so much, Chris. We really appreciate it. Have you guys been to any casinos in California? I used to go all the time to what was it? Agua Caliente in Palm Springs. I used to go to Agua Caliente quite a bit way back in the day, but it's been several years. I have not been out there since. Mark, what about you?
Never been to any of them.
Nope. Yeah. I had a fun time. It was fun. It was okay. That was really back in the day where I wasn't too focused on slots, where I would play some table games and just kind of kill time and stuff like that.
And Jay Bird has a good question. Does the machine know how much money you put out in it, and then it pays back? No. So that we get this question a lot too. So the machine, again, it plays every time you spin the machine. You press the spin button, you pull the handle, whatever. It's an independent event. It's not making any kind of determination based off of what has happened previously, if your player's cards in or out of the machine, how much cash you have in the machine, whether you use the cash or you use the ticket or you use free play. None of that stuff matters when it comes to the logic portion of that machine playing out. So don't get so focused on, I seem to only win when I put a bunch of credits in the machine. It's just coincidence. It's not because you put a bunch of credits in the machine. It doesn't care about that. The logic portion of the slot machine only cares about when you hit that spin button, what denomination you are on, and how many credits you bet. That's it. It doesn't know anything else. It makes a determination of the random number generator based off of those 3 pieces of information, and that's it. Nothing else. And you had another question real quick to follow up on that. Should I move if it doesn't pay in 5 spins? That's completely up to you. You decide. Usually, I always recommend deciding how much you're going to play through a machine before you sit down and play it. That is not because the machines are programmed that way. It's because that is a way to budget yourself and prevent yourself from getting hooked on that machine. We say it all the time. Slot machines are designed to hook you in. They are purposely designed to hook you in. They're getting flashier. They're getting more clever with almost getting bonuses, and the music and the lights and everything is so exciting, and it draws you in and wants you to keep playing. That's how they design them. But you're smarter than that, right? Because you watch us. We know that you want to get off of that machine if you're not having a good time. So whether it's 5 spins, 10 spins, 30 spins, none of that matters. That's totally up to you to decide before you sit down at the machine. We always say is if you're not having fun and you're not winning, get up and go play something else or take a break and maybe come back to that machine later. But know that is not because the machine is programmed that way. That is just your decision to make before you sit down at that machine. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit.
Very good explanation, Mark. Question here. Why do they rotate machines to different spots in the casino? So there is a very, very valid reason to do this. And this is something, again, and a lot of other people have built this up to be a myth. They do not strategically place machines on the floor based on one being better paying out than another. Yeah, that is one thing. I just want to, before I answer this question, I've got to clear that up. The old myth that, they're going to set the loose machines by the door or by the buffet or whatever, that is false information, guys. It is false. The casinos do not do that. And we know this. If you actually work in the casino, then you know the answer to this. The placement of the machines on the floor today relies on the manufacturer, and that's why they get moved around a lot. Most all casinos today have their machines leased or under contract with the manufacturer. Within that agreement and within that lease agreement, the manufacturer has stipulations on where the machines should be. And a lot of times those machines are cared for by the manufacturer. And the manufacturer, because they're getting a portion of the money, they're looking at the numbers. So I'll give you an example. Let's say a casino wants to get Dragon Link. Okay, they call the manufacturer, they call Aristocrat, and Aristocrat says, okay, we're going to give you 8 Dragon Link machines, but hey, this is a popular game and we want it by the front door where everybody can see it, or a main aisle or something like that. That has nothing to do with the machine being loose or tight. That is just because it is a new game and it wants to be featured as such. And the manufacturer determines that. So then the casino agrees and they put it there. Let's say the casino puts it in a back, still a main aisle, but towards the back. And then a couple months goes down the line. And then the manufacturer is looking at the numbers and says, hey, we're not getting the money that we wanted out of this. We want you guys to move it closer or move it to a busier area or something like that. So then the casino has to move one bank, and it's just like, those puzzle games where you slide the square. They move one, they have to move another, they have to move another. So that's why the floor is always changing, guys. It has nothing to do with the machine being loose or tight or one machine paying out over another. It is pure marketing. And it is marketing based on what the manufacturer stipulates. And then if we're talking about casinos that own their machines, the casino will do that too based on their numbers. So for example, if there's a machine that's in the back that's not getting played, pinball is a great example. Pinball, for the longest time, it's had its times of being popular and then being not popular and then popular and then not popular. So if a casino has a bunch of pinball machines shoved in the back corner, but now there's a trend where pinball is getting more popular, they're going to be like, oh, people don't realize that they're back there, we need to move them. It has nothing to do with how they're programmed at all. The thing is, if you hear somebody saying that they're going to put loose machines by the door or the entrance, they immediately don't know anything about the casino industry. Immediately they discredit themselves, because we know this, because that is in the documentation that the manufacturers give the casinos, and that the casinos agree upon when they get the machines. It is purely just marketing, and that's why the machines are moved. But very good question.
Well said. B Skillet has a question. If each spin fluctuates the payback percentage, no, that's already false. Like, each spin does not fluctuate the payback percentage. Payback percentage is set and it's left alone. So every time you do a spin, it is adding to the accounting record of the machine, saying that this many amounts of coin went into the machine. And so that will answer your next question, is does free play freeze this? And if so, when's the best time to activate after a win? So free play does not manipulate or change the way the logic portion of the game plays out. Okay. So it does not matter if you're using free play or not. Like we talked about before, the game does not care how the cash was put into the machine. Ticket, cash, free play, etc. It doesn't care about that. But what does make a difference is depending on the type of free play machine or process that casino has, it may or may not add to the accounting record of that machine. But that does not mean anything to you, the player, because it's not manipulating or changing how the spin is going to play out. So don't worry about trying to time when the best time to use free play or not. You have the free play, use that first.
Use it.
Do something ballsy that you've never done before on that free
play.
Yeah,
that's what we recommend.
To do that and hope for the best. Don't think that it's changing in any way, because it cannot be that way. It cannot be that way. So good question though. Thank you for asking that.
Very good question. Psyched out Mike. I got a back-to-back pinball on my last trip in Vegas. I walked away after both wins. Was that a wise decision, or should I have kept playing it? Again, everybody's situation is different. We want you to do what's right for your budget and your situation. Back-to-back pinballs happen a lot, and I guess you're like me in the sense of, I have gotten back-to-back pinballs so many times. I even on the $100 denom, I've gotten back-to-back pinballs. That was a crazy video, and we do have that in the library, so go check that out. Here's the thing about pinball. As much as I love the game, I'll tell you its downsides. The pinball bonus can go long. It can go long periods of time where you don't hit the bonus. It can also, Stacy on her channel, Stacy's High Limit Slots, she has a video. She sat down to play this pinball machine, $50 denom, and it was just boom, 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 constant. So there's really no way to tell. I think you did the right thing by walking away, because that's where pinball kind of sucks a lot of people in, and that's where it's a benefit to the house, because pinball does make a lot of money for the house. Even though it's giving out a lot of jackpots, it gets a lot of money, and that's because people get that bonus. And I know how this is too, because I can get myself into this situation sometimes where I get the bonus and it's so big and it's so fun and it's just, wow, I want to get that bonus again, that you sit there and you keep trying, and that's what they bet on. So I think you did the wise decision by walking away from that. But definitely, hey, next time you're in Vegas, try it out again. You never know.
Yeah. And then I'll do two things real quick. And Pocket Change says, can you get into trouble if you give a relative your rewards card to play your free play? I think that largely depends on the casino and their policies. I've heard from one of the hosts that we were talking to at MGM Grand that no, it's your money. You do what you want. As long as they didn't steal it and you put your PIN code in there, it's yours to do with as you please. You can even gift your points and other things to other people. But that is M Life. I don't know what it's like with other casino properties and their reward system. So you should check with them first, just to make sure. But typically, I don't think they really care who's using it as long as it's authorized. Like you're the one putting the card in and you're the one putting your PIN number in, if that makes sense. So, and then the other thing is, C-Car Guy says, guys, I love the fact that you answer the same question every week. Thank you for putting up with us followers. I enjoy your videos. Again, thanks. Yeah, we try to keep it fresh. We try to get new questions in here, but we understand that a lot of you guys are new to the channel, and it's a lot to ask of you to go back and watch every single live stream that we've done. There's probably 50 by now. I don't even know.
There's a lot.
There's a lot to go through, and we understand that, especially when we're repeating answers, it's hard to keep up with. So feel free to ask. Again, like we always say in our live streams, if we skip your question, it could most likely be because we just recently answered that question a lot on previous live streams, and we want to try to get to questions that haven't been asked in a while or questions that are brand new. So we always try to prioritize on that to keep it fresh for you guys. But feel free to ask anyway. Even if you're new, we want you to ask, and we will do our best to get to it. And because we want to make it fun for you new guys too. It's a lot to go back and watch all that stuff. Believe me, I don't. So it's hard to do that. But thank you for the comment.
Just want to add to that really quick. Two things. First of all, we do have a lot of videos in the library that are specific to certain topics. So just some examples, like a lot of people ask about like when's the best time and day to play. We have a whole video in the library that is just specific to that. So always, if you are new to the channel, scroll through all of our videos. We do have a lot of our videos broken down by playlist. So there's different playlists that you can go through. Like there's a playlist for how slots work. There's a playlist for game reviews. So always check those out. But also don't forget to use the website as the resource. We have done a lot of new work on our website, ropethejackpot.com. It's scrolling through the bottom of the screen there. Ropethejackpot.com has tons of resources on it. You can check to see what class your casino is. You can check all of our frequently asked questions that a lot of the questions that we do get repeats on the live stream, like about players cards or how things work. Those are all listed on our website at ropethejackpot.com. So don't forget, you guys always have that resource that's there for you. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And we are always trying to do something new. It doesn't bother us with the questions at all. So keep asking those questions. And like Mark said, because it can be to go back and watch the videos can oftentimes be a little tedious. And we are working on some new things to help make it easier for you guys. So, but thank you very much for that. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And Pocket Change did have a $9.99 super sticker coming in. Guys, thank you so much for those super
you guys
chats
are so generous. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much
for your help. And Paul has a question here. Best casino on Strip near for $1 top dollar. Found it hard to come by. New York has 3 $1 double top dollars. I would definitely recommend playing there. And then Aria has a bunch as well that are in the dollar denomination. Now they're multi-denom there, so go and look and see what the different options are. But they do have dollar. They have $5 line top dollar, which if you've watched me before, I will say that is the one to play. So. Good luck out there, Paul.
I'm actually surprised. Aria also has a whole bank of dollar pinball machines.
Yeah, they do.
Of the S3000, they have a whole bank of it. I'll take 2 questions here really quick. From Denise, when you hit free games, is the win predetermined? No, not on free games. If you're like free spins, no, it is not. Each spin is independent after that. So that is not predetermined. And second part to your question, if you fast tap, is the outcome the same? The outcome is the same no matter if you fast stop it or not. Fast stopping does not affect the outcome of the game. So good questions. Thank you. We appreciate those.
Yeah, and to kind of just because I see another question in here. So a lot of people in Brantley has talked a lot about superstitions, and people have superstitions with slot machines, and it's one of those things. People get feelings. I mean, we do too, and we know how these things work inside and out, but we still get feelings when we're playing them. Even the ones here at my house where I'm not playing for real money, I still get feelings. It's like I just got the 3 triple diamonds on the pay line. I'm probably not going to play this one for a while because it's not going to hit that again. It's completely false. Yeah. The next spin, it could hit it again. But everybody has superstitions, and so it's totally okay. We just want to make sure that you have the knowledge going in so that you're better educated before those superstitions start to kick in, because it's inevitably going to happen, right? We're humans. We try to explain everything that's happening in our life, And so when there's not like official documentation on how a slot machine works, it's very difficult to kind of plow through that and plow through all the myths that just constantly get thrown at your face. And it's always going to be that way. But you guys are smart. You're watching us. We're trying to tell you how these things really work so that you can make up your decision or make up your mind before you play the machine and know how it's going to actually work. And if you do that, those superstitions will start to go away and you will become a better gambler. You'll become a smarter gambler because you're not believing things that aren't true. And if you know how a slot machine works and you know that's mostly random and there's nothing you can do by rubbing the screen or putting your player's card in and out or wait until your watch says 6:01 p.m. and then hitting the bet max button. If you throw all that stuff away, you'll have a good time playing slot machines. I guarantee you. You'll stop worrying so much about all that because none of that's really helping you. What's helping you is what we teach you. And that's what we're trying to do is weed through all of that stuff and just tell you right to your face, this is how they work. And this is the information you need to better your chances of winning on a slot machine. So hopefully that helps you guys.
Exactly. Very well said, Mark. Very well said. We're going to take a couple more questions here, and then we're almost at 2 hours for our live stream. So we will be wrapping it up. So a couple more questions, and then we will close out today's live stream. Question here. Do we do video poker? Also, I did a quick scroll through and didn't see any. Yes, we do. We have a video on video poker. I believe the title of it is called Video Poker 101. It should be under the playlist of interviews with experts because we brought on the American Casino Guide. They've been doing video poker for 20 plus years and they know everything about the game. They were even able to teach me stuff that I didn't know about video poker. So that is a very good video. Moderators, if you're able to pull up a link to that video, if you wouldn't mind to put it in the chat window, and then I'll put it back up. But I believe it is under the playlist of interviews with experts. Yes, Tammy just put that link up there. So check that out. It is a great video. Thank you very much, Tammy. I appreciate that.
And then Rick says, Mark and Brantley, do you ever feel meh about the machines you have and want to change them up? Like the thrill is gone despite hard work of getting them up. Oh God, yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yes. You know, like
I think we
these
both
here
go through that. Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about selling these off to replace them with different machines. But then I know, because I learned my lesson before, maybe I should hold on to them and just add to it, but I have no more space. So if I get rid of any machine, it's going to be that Bally machine right there. I can't stand that machine. I think it's the worst machine.
Well, I think we were gonna meet up in Wyoming and blow that up in the field, weren't we?
Yeah, something like that. That is
yeah, Rick. I know the feeling all too well, and you guys that have watched for a while see the machines behind me changing constantly because I just get bored of them and want something new. So, yep, ever changing.
Exactly. Hopefully, I'll be able to add another machine in here at some point. But
you need a pinball in there.
I have been searching for guys. If you're out there and you're looking to buy a pinball machine, good luck because they are really
they're
few
hard
and far between.
They
Pinball has exploded in popularity recently, and there's just none on the market. There is none on the market. All right, question here from Angie. Love your channel. Trying to do your build-up method on our closest casino in Hobbs, New Mexico. They don't have a line 5 credit 25% machine. They do have single line 2 credit double diamond machine. Should we start on that? I would start on that. That's a pretty good machine to start on. The double diamond machine is really low in volatility. It's a great game. I would start on that just to build up your bankroll. I think that you'd be pretty successful on that. Always keep something in mind with that build-up method, guys, is you can adapt it to you and your budget. So you don't have to start with 100. You can start with, something bigger. You can start with something smaller. The general practice of it is still going to be the same. Also, please do stop when you feel like stopping. And I even said that in the video. Obviously the goal is to try to get the jackpot, try to get a hand pay. However, if you go in with $100 and you turn it into 500 and you are satisfied with it, stop at 500 and go home with that. So make sure that you're adapting it to you. And I mentioned that in the video too, where, again, you guys can stop at any point that you feel comfortable with. But best of luck to you, Angie. I hope you do well on it. Keep us posted. Let us know. Come back on either the Wednesday or next Sunday live stream and let us know how it went.
All right, I'll take one more and then we'll start to wrap up here. And B Skillet has a question. If a spin decides to pay out $25, how does it compute whether it's from a 3-line hit or 5-line symbols, or it doesn't matter? So I tried to answer that in the How a Slot Machine Works video as well. It gets a little complicated when it comes to the number of lines and stuff like that, but it essentially is the same on how it computes payback and stuff. And I'm actually going to post a link to that video in here, Brantley, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's important that you guys watch that and understand, this is how slot machines actually work. The basic way I could think to even explain it. So hopefully that helps you guys.
All right. So let's round it out. Let's take one more question from Denise. If you change denoms, sometimes the machine hits. Why is that? Every denomination is programmed separately. So when you change denominations, it's basically like changing to a new machine. What you did on the previous denomination has no merit or bearing in the accounting record of the next denomination that you pick. So you could be playing on $5 denom and it just is terrible, 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 terrible. And then you switch it to $10 denom and it works well, or vice versa. They don't talk to each other. They're entirely independent. and separate it out. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for the wonderful live stream. We spent 2 hours with you guys today. As a reminder, check out that website, ropethejackpot.com, for tons of valuable resources, casino guides, frequently asked questions. You can also get products to help support our channel that look really cool. They're on sale until the end of November. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out our video library. And if you are watching this and you have not yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers. So every single subscriber counts. We're trying to get that final push through. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for the wonderful live stream. We really appreciate having each and every one of you here. As always, best of luck out there. Stay safe, and we'll see you again next episode.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good week.